Let's bring in our very good friend, Dr. Joe Kimgini from Sports Medicine Center at Akron Children's Hospital for his Wednesday visit with us. Dr. Joe, what do you have for us today?
Hey, Ray, how are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific, especially with this weather getting nice again.
Yeah, we're moving back in a good direction, and we're all going to be upbeat about that. But, in the sports world, sports medicine world, nobody does it quite like the NFL. They always stay in the news cycle. And on the past weekend, there was a story that was out there, and I kind of wanted to get a little bit more information. I think I threw it out a few months ago, just in passing of what I heard, but now they're actually starting to make some progress on it. And so I got some help from one of the students in our office. We have such bright students. We have a PA student, Austin Coldsnow, and Austin helped me look at some articles yesterday relating to the helmet changes that the NFL is talking about. And so I wanted to catch people up on what we learned about that. So it's kind of a committee with NFL people and NFLPA people together that are looking into this with the committee. And the helmets that they looked at and studied in the last couple of weeks and months seem to show about a 7% decrease, a little bit better at preventing concussion. And the big issue is that these are going to be position-specific. So there would be certain helmets that would be specific for certain positions. And the first one that's on the drawing board, as you might expect, important position in the NFL, is quarterback, a quarterback-specific helmet. And I heard them talking about that and saying that it might even be pretty close to being useful this year. What they did in studying, Ray, quarterback injuries, they found that more than 50% of them were from helmet to ground, the helmet hitting the ground, the head hitting the ground in football. And so they designed this helmet with a deformable shell, and so it would actually dent when the head hits the ground rather than picking up the impact through the helmet and then the head. And so this helmet has been studied. It performed better in the lab than 7 other helmets that have been used in the last 5 years in the NFL. Of course, that's in the lab, so we don't know for sure, but they're encouraged by it. And this is a trend that they're studying in a few other areas. They're really looking for position-specific. So they're looking at a lineman helmet they're working on now. It's not quite as far along from what we understand in the research articles we looked at. The wide receiver and defensive back, the speed guys, the skill position guys, they found that most of the concussions were more high-speed collisions, and so they're looking at a different helmet for that population. Part of this is driven, Ray, by the fact that there was an 18% increase in diagnosed concussions last year league-wide. And I think we talked about that mid-season, and that was a concern for the NFL. They don't like to hear that. And concussion's a big concern overall. And we thought, a few years ago, we were at a pretty critical point, and now things had kind of improved a little bit. But they want to look at this in a little bit more detail again. So, the wording, and the NFL is always so great at the way they put the wording out there, is they called it customized protection for their players. So it'll be specific for different positions. In the third article that we looked at, there were actually some numbers that they revealed. And in the 4 years from 2018 to 2020 versus last year, there was a 14% increase in concussions. And from 2021 to 2022, an 18% increase. And of course, I think we talked about that a little bit earlier during the year. They during the Tua incident, they said much of this was what they call protocol-driven. The NFL chief officer, Dr. Alan Sills, was saying they broadened and strengthened the diagnosis, so it would figure that there might be higher numbers of concussions. They said there were more sensitive sideline evaluations, that the eye in the sky was improved, that the independent neurologist improve their ability to pick up on some of these concussions. So they think it was more because of protocols, not necessarily because of play, but because this, and to be proactive and to protect their athletes, and the NFLPA's in on it too. The newest thing they're going to look at is customized protection, and they think the quarterback helmet, the deformable shell, might be ready for this season. So it's something to keep an eye on. And, concussion always gets everybody's attention. The NFL always stays in the news cycle year-round. And so it was something that I just wanted to bring up for your audience. And, of course, I would let you know that I'll keep you updated as things change as we get through the season.
Joe, if it's a go-ahead, what are you hearing? Will it be mandatory or not for quarterbacks to wear that helmet?
You know what? That is a great question. That is absolutely a great question, and I saw that in two different articles that we looked at, and it would not be mandatory. So if there's players that have played with their same helmet, really like the type of helmet they have, or the actual helmet itself that they have, and they're very comfortable with it, they would allow them to continue in this period of time of wearing the helmet that they're comfortable with. That's a great question, because if you know around football players, some people are just very specific and particular about the helmet they wear, and they would be allowed to continue in the same helmet.
All right. Dr. Joe Congeni's got the latest for us, talking a little bit about these new helmets that being designed for our quarterbacks, trying to keep the quarterbacks out on the football field. Joe, as always, my friend, thanks for taking time to visit us this morning. We'll reconnect next week.
Thanks, Ray. Have a great week. Thank you.
You too, my friend. Dr. Joe Congeni, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital with us.